Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Lena. Welcome back to another video. Sorry, one of the columns with books almost fell off. So, continuing, yeah, I do look the same as in the previous video because today I didn't have the will to pretend that this was another day. Sorry. But today we're going to talk about my favorite sci-fi books of all time. This is also a list, a top 10 list with a few honorable mentions. And curiously enough, this year I found it harder to do the sci-fi list than the fantasy list. Curious, I know. But I miss half of the books. I do not know where they are. So I will have to put pictures for a lot of them. But let's just get started with the honorable mentions. So this first one might surprise you for a little bit, but this is the Arc of the Scythe. I believe that this series is really good. And I barely talk about it since I read it, basically. But I think book 2 is almost perfect. I couldn't stop reading it, even though I had an exam the next day. I was just obsessed with finding out in the ending the heartbreak of the ending of this book. Holy shit. It was fucking tragic. This was tragic. And I loved it. This is basically set on a world where people no longer die. And to keep the population at bay, they now have the Scythes, which are people that basically they kill other people, and it's sanctioned. So yeah, we're going to follow like 2 science apprentices, and it's amazing. I highly recommend it. It's very popular, you probably heard of it, but still, book 2 was incredible. I wasn't a huge fan of book 3, but book 2 was just worth it, honestly. Then another one that I actually really love and barely talk about, Villians by B. Schwab. I think this is a fantastic book. It didn't need to be a duology, honestly. It was fine as a standalone, but I really like it. It's basically about 2 friends that are in college and they are trying to find the way to become superheroes, to develop superpowers, basically. And they kind of don't. It's really cool. I highly recommend it. You've probably heard of it a million times and you've probably read it. But I really like it. It's really dark. And honestly, the story is just so cool. And I do have to say that I really love this edition, honestly. This one is great. Highly recommended. Then, another one that I cannot find for the love of God. Annihilation. I'm a huge fan of this type of horror sci-fi. I love horror sci-fi in general. But this type of horror fantasy, horror sci-fi gets me every time. I love this kind of disturbed, very perturbed, weird type of horror sci-fi. And I think this encompasses it greatly. I do sometimes need answers, but not all the time. Sometimes I just enjoy the ride. And I feel like Annihilation is a book to just enjoy the ride, because the next in the series do not make sense at all, and they are very bad. So just don't. But you can read Annihilation. It's really cool. It's basically about this area that they have denominated Area X. And it appeared in the middle of the US, and they are sending teams to investigate inside. But most of them do not come back, and some of them come back very badly, in a very bad shape. So they are not sending a team of women to maybe change the equation a little bit. It's really cool. I actually really like the movie too, though. I feel like watching the movie. I might watch the movie today. But it was actually really cool, honestly. Another one that I haven't talked about in a while, but I feel like it's just really cool. This is Do You Dream of Terra-Two? And this is a very chill out science fiction book. It's a very like, you're here, enjoy the ride. It's sad, but there's nothing you can do. And sometimes I just really like this type of read. I'm not a huge fan of this type of morally read, but I do really like philosophical sci-fi. And I think this one falls into that category. Even though it's younger than the ones that I like, works great. It's basically about a group of teenagers that are sent to a mission to find a habitable planet, basically. It's really cool. I really like the story and how we got there and the different children. It's just really cool, dude. I actually really like this. And I barely talk about this book, honestly, because it's just like very niche. So I never know where to put it on my recommendations, but I really, really like it. So it's very soon to put one of these books on my top 10, but bitch, I'm so obsessed with this. I'm so obsessed with Warhammer, especially 40k Warhammer. I don't know how this happened, but I just started and I cannot stop. I cannot stop. I literally just made a list for all the books in the Horus Heresy, besides the first trilogy, that I need to read to get the full spectrum. It's just like watching One Piece. Well, the same with the Horus Heresy, just skipping the hay, basically. And I've been loving this. Besides the Horus Heresy, I've read all of, oh my god, what's the name? Eisenhorn. I've read Night Lords. I've read a shit ton of Warhammer Horror. What else? I'm currently reading Guns Ghosts. I love this. This is so cool. I love the world. It's so dark. And it's just like my perfect type of dark. And I love military sci-fi. It's just the fucking best. Should I explain this world to you? I don't know. It's military sci-fi. It's very hard to explain, honestly. So many series are so different, but if you like military sci-fi, check this one out. It's very, very gory also. I love it. So, let's go with the top 10. In number 10, Machineries of Empire. I still not over this series. I still think this is one of the best hard science fictions out there. Nine Fox Gambit, which is book 1, is fucking amazing. Fucking amazing. It's going to take you a long time to get it. It's fine. It's fucking fine. But it's just so worth it. The characters are fantastic. The plot is great. And the science here is just so difficult at times. But it's really worth it. It's really worth it. You're basically going to follow Cherries, basically. And she is tasked with retrieving the Fortress of 1,000 Needles. And for that, she's going to use the help of a hugely famous commander that is being brought back for her, basically. And it's amazing. The relationship between the two is fantastic. I love it so much. It's one of the best parts of the book, like how they communicate and how they work together. It's amazing. I highly recommend this. It's very hard at first, but I think this is not talked about enough. It's just amazing, honestly. I cannot find it. I had this as a placeholder, but I cannot find my copy of There Is No Antimemetics Division by the same author as this. I just cannot find it. Where the fuck is it? But basically, There Is No Antimemetics Division is a very convoluted story about a part of the government. It reminded me a lot of Control, you know? If you like that game, you're probably going to really like this. And SCP too. So the thing is, this branch of the government is dedicated to fight anti-memes. And in this case, they found one that erases memory. And it's just super cool. Because in the original book, there's even fragments that are scratched out because they do not know them anymore. So it's just amazing, dude. It's just amazing. I love this story so much. I really want to read it. If I could find my copy, I fucking would. But I also really need to read this book by the same author. This is a continuation of stories. And I'm making it a mission this year to read more of his works. The thing is, I do not like these little tiny paperbacks. They are so look at this. It's not even the size of my face. But yeah. It's amazing. There's No Antimemetics Division is fantastic. Is again very convoluted. Is similar. Well, it's more similar to something like Annihilation than your proper sci-fi. But I love it so much. Then, boom, a new entry on this list. I read this Simbiosis. This is, I think, the only Spanish book in my list lately. I've read some horrendous things, honestly, and I read a good bunch of Spanish science fiction books, but only this one made the cut because this one is fantastic. It's basically about a symbiotic relationship between the aliens that we discovered as humans and humans. And the thing is, in this society now is very frowned upon the fact that you are not on a symbiotic relationship with all of the aliens that gets in your brain and makes you like better in every single regard. And it's just great, but someone has been killing non-symbiont people, and now we're going to find out why. Loved it so much. Loved the mixed media aspect of it, the narration style, because it just leaves you crumbles throughout the whole way. You do not follow the same character in each chapter. Like, you even follow like one random lady at times. It's just great. I loved it so much. This is so underrated. I wish it was translated to English so you can actually enjoy it, because this, outside Spain, would have been a success. Honestly. But it's fantastic sci-fi, and I love it so much, and I'm so happy that I got to it this year. New edition this year, The Ferryman by Justin Cronin. Surprising no one, honestly. Especially not myself, since Justin Cronin is one of my favorite authors after The Passage, which will be appearing in this list very shortly on. But this one is very different from the other series. In here, we have two islands. They're basically utopias. And the thing is, in this world, people no longer die. And they basically are taken by the ferryman when something starts not working right with their bodies or their mind. And they are refurbished into another body, and they can start another life. It's great. But honestly, this is fantastic. Well, not in another body. It's actually... They scratch their mind, basically, and they start over again. But it's great. I loved it so much. I really want to reread it. I believe that it's a little bit rushed, but it's probably because it's a standalone. I wish we had like 2 books. It could have been perfectly a duology, honestly. But I just really liked it. I liked the ending a lot. I thought that I knew where it was going, but it was so mistaken. And I fucking love that I was mistaken for that. I fucking love this. I highly, highly recommend it, honestly. Where is my copy of this book? It's a mystery, but this is Seveneves. It's probably right behind me, and you'll probably see it. It's green. And it's a tiny paperback. But where is it? I just do not know where it is. But I love this book, basically. It's a little bit of a controversial take, since a lot of people do not like this book, especially because it's a generational story. And it all starts with the moon shattering and hitting Earth, but not hitting Earth in like a great chunk. No, there are like thousands upon thousands of small pieces that basically, when colliding with Earth, are going to make like a sky of fire. And everything inside Earth is going to be fucking burned down. So they start like this mission to get out of the planet and try to start in the space station. And we're going to follow Earth and the space station, and then we have a generational jump into the future. And it's just super cool, dude. I love the debates, the philosophical debates that we had in this novel. There's always one that I remember the most, that is about diseases. Not especially diseases, but I do not remember the correct word in English. But basically, disorders. Yeah. Disorders. And they are debating at one time if they should actually suppress disorders while making this new community, because they have the talent to basically modify genetics to not have them. So one of them, who actually suffers from one type of disorder that I do not remember right now, is just like, wait, this disorder is part of who I am, makes me who I am in a sense, so why should we get rid of it? And another one is just like, but yeah, it will make your life so much difficult on this ship. It's just amazing. I love it so much. I loved it. I do have to say that I loved the first part more than the second part, but the second part was still good for me. So honestly, I recommend it a lot. Then, of course, I'm never letting this one go. This is Pandora's Star by Peter F. Hamilton. This is book 1 in the Commonwealth Saga, and honestly, I love this one because I'm a huge fan of big world building, and this author does this all the time, and I fucking love it. I love it when we have like overly explained worlds and details, because it makes the world so alive, and I feel this one does it to the super next level, which can be really annoying for some people, especially since there's not that much plot in this book, but there's a lot of world building. So it's fine. But the main premise of this book is that this man is basically looking up the sky with his telescope, and 1 second one star is there, and the next one it is not. What happened? So they basically sent a ship to investigate, because it did not make sense that it exploded, because light will have taken some time to get into our visual spectrum. So they're just like, what the fuck? It's amazing. It's amazing, but it's definitely not for everyone. I'll say that. It's not for everyone. But I love it so much, dude. And we have such huge cast of characters. Some questionable characters in here, but I do not care. This book is incredible, especially this first one. The second one is great also, but not as good as the first one. And I still haven't found another Peter F. Hamilton book that I love as much as this duology, basically, which is kind of sad. But I will be still trying this year, because I be reading Mindstar Rising. That's it, Mindstar Rising, because I'm not a huge fan of the reality dysfunction. I tried it, I didn't love it, and all the same with the Dreaming Void. So we'll see. Then honestly, I love this book. This is Hench, and oh my god, I love it for the same reason that I love Villians. But it's basically because we follow the bad guys here, and in this world, you are either a hero, a villain, or a henchman working for the villains. So we're going to follow Anna, who is a henchman for a villain. And one day they are doing this dumb fucking presentation. A hero comes in, kills mostly everyone. It destroys lives. And she comes to the realization that maybe heroes actually cost more to society than the villains. And everything goes from there. I love it. I know this one is for everyone too, but I fucking love it so much. I read it like 3 times already. I still love it each time that I read it. And I love the main character. I love that we have a fucking smart woman as a main character, who is not like strong physically, but is just like fucking smart. I love it so much, and she's so pretty too. I love her. So for the last book that I cannot find, I have Pines here, which could be tied with Recursion, because these are my favorite Blake Crouch books. I still have some faith on Blake Crouch, even though I hated his latest release. I hated it so much. It was so bad. One of the biggest disappointments of the year for me. But these two, fantastic reads, especially Pines, and I'm going to focus on that. This one, oh man, it's basically following Ethan Burke, if I'm not mistaken, because I also love the TV show for this series. But he is basically sent into the small town to find his partner, who went missing along with another agent. And once they get there, they discover that Wayward Pines is a really cool, super happy place. Or maybe not. I love this. I love this type of trope. If you have books that have this type of trope where a city is actually horrible and they are pretending to be super nice, please just let me fucking know, because I love it. I love it so much. It's fantastic. I loved it since the first moment that I read this. The first book especially is fantastic, even though the rest are also good. But man, this has one of the best plot twists I've read in a long time. It's just so good, dude. So good. I love the TV show, the first season only, because it covers like the entire trilogy. Season 2 was so bad, but the first season was amazing. So if you think this sounds interesting, but you don't really want to read the book, honestly, just watch the show. It's as good, honestly. Dude, I feel like I've been talking forever. But the next book is The Freeze Frame Revolution by Peter Watts. Peter Watts has become one of my favorite sci-fi authors. He's just so good. He writes like the type of plot that I would write if I was an author. Like every single time that I see his synopsis, I'm just like, yes. But this one especially is super, super good. This is a hard sci-fi novella, and we are going to follow this ship that basically builds wormholes so humanity can use it, basically. And this crew is kind of trapped here in this continuous cycle of waking up, sleeping, waking up, sleeping, and they want to flee this ship and escape this AI. It's really cool. It's a really smart novel and I love it so much. It might be a little bit complicated at first, but honestly, it's not the hardest of the hardest, you know? So you'll probably be fine just attempting this, but it's so good, dude. It's so good. It's really short, but it's packed. It's really packed. I love it so much. I cannot recommend this one enough. Give it a try. If you like this, you will really like his other books too. Then probably the hardest book to explain out of this whole series. A Memory Called Empire. This duology is absolutely fantastic. If you like politically driven science fiction, you're going to love this, because in this one we're going to follow an envoy and she gets into the Texicalan Empire to replace and find out what happened to the previous envoy. I explained it really well actually, but it's not just that. It's not just that. It's just so much more, so convoluted. I love to explore the culture of the Texicalan Empire. It was amazing how she treats everything and how the world, and how these residents, like, treat her. It's just great. It's just great. And there's a relationship here that is my favorite OTP, honestly. It's just so good. It's just so good. And I love it. Look at my face. I'm just like, it makes me so happy. And I love to see it unfold in book 2. It was great. I love it. Highly, highly, highly recommend this. It's fantastic in so many levels. But the interaction between these two characters, it's just so cute and so cool, dude. Then, as I've told you, The Passage by Justin Cronin. I love this. This is a book about vampires and I fucking love it. It's a post-apocalyptic book after the vampires take over the world, basically. And people just live in these kind of walled-up cities and they are trying to survive. Until one day a mysterious girl appears and now everything might change. It's amazing. He has humidity, why? But, dude, honestly, the prologue of this book is like 400 pages long. It's amazing. It might sound familiar to you because it had a TV show not that long ago. But the TV show only covered the prologue of the book. And I do have to say, I wasn't really mad at it. It wasn't a bad adaptation, but it really has nothing to do with what the story really is about. Oh man, but it was good. This series is amazing. I binge read the last book in like 6 hours and these are fucking gigantic, but I just couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. We also follow a bunch of POVs here, but Peter is my favorite one. I love you. He's one of my like main favorite characters of all time. Like, he's one of my like early on favorite characters of all time. It's just amazing. I love it. Also Amy is the best, but this is great. I highly recommend it. It's a little bit confusing at times, honestly, but I just love how this man writes. I love like exploring a lot of things and then getting to the point, because all those little things are actually related to the plot and they are not just like filler, you know, but they're just like a little bit of everything thrown in there, and I just love it. I just love it. I just love that type of narration, honestly. Once again, on the top 3, and these are the same books that are always on the top 3, except that the order might be a little bit different this year. I know. But in number 3, we have Blindsight. This is Firefall, which is a companion of 2 books. Blindsight and Ecopraxia. I hate Ecopraxia. Love Blindsight. Blindsight might be one of the best sci-fi books out there, honestly. It's just so fucking cool, and it's a science fiction book with aliens and vampires. Why? Why not? Why not? And it's very hard, but basically humanity gets this message and they are just like, okay, sure, let's find out what the fuck is going on. And they send a ship. And these aliens, dude, there are so many cool concepts in here. They are fucking great. There's even one thing with vampires and crucifixes, and an explanation, like a scientific explanation of them, that is just so fucking cool. But honestly, I love this. I'll be downloading the audiobook again and listen to it tonight, because this shit is fantastic. I highly recommend it, but it's definitely hard sci-fi. I will definitely tag it as hard sci-fi. So be careful. But at the same time, it's just so fucking good. This is the surprise. In number 2, we have The Expanse. For the first time ever, this series has been dethroned as my number 1 favorite series of all time. And I think it's because I have so much love and affection for this series and these characters that I was a little bit disappointed with book 9? With book 9. And it's hard. But it also was hard to not be disappointed by it, because this series has so much going on. And I have like this huge love, honestly, this huge love for this cast of characters, probably also because the TV show is fucking fantastic. Fucking fantastic. Watch the show. It's incredible, honestly. It's just as good as the books. Never happened before, but it's just as good as the books. And it was hard for me to finish this series. I didn't want it to end. I didn't want it to end. Basically, that's it. I want Amos to stay with me forever. And that cannot happen. So I was a little bit disappointed by book 9. But this series is just so good. I don't think there's anyone out there that do not know The Expanse, honestly. So I'm not going to just talk about what it's about. But dude, this series is certainly incredible. Just read it. If you've never read it and you enjoy sci-fi, you don't even have to love sci-fi. If you just enjoy sci-fi, you're going to love it. I love the political aspect of this series. It's fucking incredible. There's not just like, oh, aliens, oh, meteorites, oh, space. No, there's huge political action in here. And I fucking love it. Abasarala is probably one of the best female characters out there by like a mile. She's just fantastic. And also the actress that portrays her on the show, she is fucking Abasarala. Like, she's just so good on the part. Like, she gets it. She gets it. So I love this. I love this. But sadly, the fucking Sun Eater series is, for me, the pinnacle of science fiction. Honestly, I do not know how these books keep getting better. How is it possible? I have no fucking clue, but each is better than the one before. And I already gave this first one like 4.55 stars. How the fuck? How the fuck do I rate book 5? Well, book 6 when it comes out. Because I already have book 5 and it's there. How do I rate book 6? How? Because honestly, book 5 was fucking great. Was fucking great. And it had so much suffering, like my poor baby Adrian suffers so much. This is basically about following Hadrian Marlowe. He's from this noble family, basically, and at the beginning of the book, we learn that it's famous because he blew up an entire solar system, killing everyone. And now we get his life story. It's just so fucking good, dude. It's that good. It's that good. I cannot get enough of this series, honestly. It's just amazing. And the last three books, especially The Demon in White and Ashes of Man, dude, just do yourself a favor and read this. Maybe book 1 is not for you. I get that. It wasn't like my favorite either because it has gladiators and I do not like gladiators. But still, read book 2. If you don't like book 2, then just give it up. But read book 2. Trust me, read book 2. This first book is very different from the rest of the series, and the rest of the series is just pure science fiction. Pure science fiction on its best way possible. So yeah, after getting that excited, those were my favorite sci-fi books of all time. These are fantastic, honestly. All of these are fantastic, so read them if you haven't. And please just let me know what is your favorite science fiction book of all time. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye!
you.